Welcome back to the channel, and we've got urgent news. There is signs of life in Scrap Mechanic. We have another devblog, not chapter 2, another devblog that does mention chapter 2 though. And I was starting to lose hope that we would even get any update this year at all. Like literally yesterday, I was like, normally by this time in December, there's been an update about the delay of chapter 2, and we haven't even gotten that yet. But it's here. It's finally here. And we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna look at all the details, what it means, what's happening with chapter 2, and what's going to be in chapter 2 that it was newly revealed in this devblog. So let's get started. Devblog number 26, mechanics. One more devblog. They seem to be indicating that this might be the last devblog before the chapter 2 update. It's good to be back with another devblog. Where should we start? Let's address the big question first. Just getting right into it, aren't we? Where is the next chapter? Believe it or not, it's coming along, but it hasn't been without challenges. Earlier this year, we ran into some significant design and technical issues with the underground digging gameplay. Simply put, it wasn't meeting the quality bar we expect from Scrap Mechanic. Once we reached a version that felt right from the gameplay perspective, it also required a heavy optimization pass to make sure it performs well in a large underground world. That meant more iteration and testing than originally planned. We could have made development easier for ourselves by lowering the bar or simplifying parts of the feature, but that's not how we approach Scrap Mechanic. We care deeply about delivering something that feels fresh, solid, and worth their weight, even when it means taking longer. Now, we're genuinely happy with where it's headed, and we believe that will be clear when you finally get to play it. All right, so despite all of the delays and everything, it is encouraging to hear that they've actually been working on things and they have things to show for it. Because I was starting to wonder, like I was legitimately starting to wonder, like, are they just gonna silently walk away and there's not gonna be any updates at all anymore? Because I think it's been a whole year since the last update. So I was really considering that maybe they just dropped it because I don't know why. But this is encouraging. But the main question right here, when is it coming out? It's not this year. Well, that's pretty, we're cutting it pretty close if we're going to be this year. I was hoping that it was going to be a Christmas present, but doesn't seem like it, unfortunately. So, but when is it coming out? Not this year. But we are very sure you will finally get to play the next chapter next year. Very sure. They didn't say certain. They said very sure you will finally get to play the next chapter next year. The release date will be announced in the coming months. Okay, this is a big claim here. In the coming months, they said that they're going to announce a release date. Now, what does coming months mean? Is that like, are we talking like a couple? Are we talking several? Are we talking a bunch? Because like, there's 12 months coming in the next year. So like December? No, to me, this, if I would give them 4 months. If they don't give us a release date in 4 months, something's wrong. Because when I read in the coming months, I'm thinking 3. I wouldn't say that unless I was like, within the next 3 months or so, but I'm adding a 4th just to be safe. So hopefully by April, imagine an April Fool's joke. They could totally do an April Fool's joke with this. All right, but not only are they announcing the release date, but apparently the name too. I guess chapter 2 isn't the name. What if they just completely change the name of the game? Like it's not even Scrap Mechanic anymore. All right, that's all they can say right now. So let's jump into some new stuff. We noticed that we had enough spoiler-free content to make a new devblog, so here it goes. All right, my reaction to the whole chapter 2 release and all that stuff is, like, I gotta be honest, I was losing a lot of hope, and this has kind of reinvigorated me a little bit. I'm a lot more hopeful than I was, because the hope meter was going down a lot. And it seems like they've just been quietly working on things rather than just abandoning things and getting distracted by other things. So that's what it feels like to me, but I tend to take a more charitable view in life in general. So that's just that my opinion may not be the correct opinion, but it's just the feeling I get. I'm hopeful now. I'm just hopeful again, and I feel like in the next 4 months we'll know when chapter 2 is getting released, and maybe it'll get released by the end of the year. Okay, but let's talk about what chapter 2 actually looks like now. because I've skimmed through this before recording, and this seems like a completely different game than what we know, which I feel like the last devblog. When was the last devblog, by the way? It's been that long. All right, ScrapMan devblog. What? This is 26. Is 24 the? Oh, there we go. 25. 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It's been 2 years since the last. Well, what month? March. Yeah, that's pretty of 2023. It's been more than 2 years. Man, this is big news. Devblog 25. Yeah, and this is Devblog 26. I can't believe. I thought it was like maybe a year. It's been more than 2 years. All right, well, we're back. We're back in the devlog reviews after 2.5 years. All right, let's see here. New survival terrain. The survival terrain has received a really big overhaul, and we finally got around to adding all the things that we always wanted for the generated survival world. The aim was to create a more varied and visually interesting place, or varied and visually interesting places. Beautiful forest roads, as well as bridges, new mountain formations, and better desert biomes. We also added new ruins, secrets, as well as making sure road systems are better and easier to navigate with improved linking. Here are some new shots from the survival terrain. All right, let's take a look at some of these. Interesting. This is... There's an eye, so this is like an information thing. It could be a quest booth for questing, perhaps. What is this icon there? Of course, it's not letting me zoom in on the image. I can zoom in this way, though. Oh, and that's as big as I can get. All right, everything else other than this looks familiar. This is definitely a new object here, and I'm going to assume this is some type of quest station. All right, what else we got? Look at, oh, this looks beautiful. Lighting and everything. I know that they mentioned in previous devblogs about the lighting overhaul. Like they've kind of overhauled how the lighting system works and everything. So this looks pretty cool. This is a lot more foresty than what I'm used to seeing with roads. All right, this is definitely new. This is a barge of a ruin. Usually the ruins are on islands out in the ocean. This one is just out in the ocean, which to me indicates water vehicle compatibility, perhaps, Keys? Oh, what is this? Is that a squid? Are these squids? Or are these plants? What are those things? Like, these are obviously plants attached to the bottom. It's hard to tell if this is like a plant attached to the bottom, the seabed, or if this is like some life. It doesn't look like a... Oh, no, it's a bot. Okay, I remember. In previous devlogs, they showed a underwater topbot that had yellow flippers. And I think that's what we're just so far zoomed out. They look really tiny. They look smaller than a topbot, but those are topbots. Those are the underwater topbots. You can see some topbots up on the platform here, but this to me kind of feels like there might be some water compatibility that we don't have right now for water creations. Either that or they intend you to fly here, but it would be nice to have some water stuff. It looks like this whole... I can't see any ramps leading up in this hole here, but there's a possibility that it's obscured by our angle. So interesting thing, new thing here that we don't have in current survival. All right, another image. We got a burned forest biome, and then this is new. It looks like there's ice, which I think this is related to something that is coming later in the devblog. But yeah, it looks like we got ice as part of scrap mechanic in the future, the far, far future. All right, this is interesting. This is definitely interesting new tile. Oh, hold on a second. Nope. Okay, because you see this right here, we got a sign and we got an information booth in that first image. And you can see over here, we got a sign and we got an information booth. I thought this was two different shots of the same tile, but this water was not in the background that I could see. So yeah, this road bend here with like a bit of a barrier for the water to not erode the road. That's definitely new. And I'm not seeing any signs of hostility in here. No yellow flippers or anything. And scanning around, I'm not seeing anything else that stands out other than the quest booth over here, or the information booth over here. All right, we got another road here. This one looks pretty standard. The fences along the side does seem... These fences were usually reserved for like specific areas on tiles, like around like the shacks and stuff, but it seems like there's more random fences. This looks a little bit new up here for this ruin over here. This fence or gate up here looks different than what I remember seeing. This one looks normal. All All right, so we just got roads. And then this, so let me zoom in on this here. This is interesting. This bridge is new for sure. This bridge does not exist in current survival. So bridges across bodies of water is interesting. We've also got a new outfit on the character here. That's a nice looking vehicle. Nice looking survival vehicle. All right, raid redesign. Another part of survival that got a very big overhaul is the raids. We have turned it into a much more well-designed game element with a lot more depth than what's currently in survival. The difficulty scale is a lot better now. Enemies are a lot smarter, choosing better paths. We redesigned the raid UI and made the raids start right away when they get triggered instead of making mechanics wait for a day. They are much more engaging and fun now, and including a lot of our newer bots as well. So this is an interesting piece of information. They get triggered right away, because normally in current survival, you plant a bunch of stuff, and then it says unauthorized farming detected, and then there's a raid timer that counts down, and the raids always spawn in at 4 a.m. on the world clock. No, at midnight on the world clock. The unauthorized farming gets refreshed at 4 a.m. if you haven't cleared out your farm. But yeah, raids are always at midnight. But now it seems like the raids are just when unauthorized farming is detected, and this looks incredible right here. Let me zoom in. So we've got aerial army capsules of bots. We got a tape bot coming down with this tape bot and hay bot coming down with this capsule. Can I pause these? Because I see like 2 tape bot like things in there, but one of them looks like it's a different color. And I don't know how to pause. I can't pause the GIF. All right, yeah, but these things are crazy. Looks like they could just spawn anywhere. There's multiples. There's like, whoa, there's at least 3. 1, 2, there's a wait, 4. Wait, hold on, what? There's 4 of them. There's 4 of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. What kind of farms are you? What level of a raid is this? It's got tape bots and everything too. Tape bots are the worst. All right, here's the image of a raid on a farm, and this looks terrifying. Everything is exploding. Whoa. Okay, those tape bots are shooting something. Those are different colored tape bot style things. I really want to pause this. I can't pause it. Anyway, I downloaded the image. I'm like zooming in. I don't know. I just got Windows 11. I had a compatibility issue and just installed it like today. So hopefully my recording stuff works. But I don't know how to pause GIFs. But these things, there's like green bots out here that are shooting something that's not tape. I'm assuming it's something that is weaker than tape because the tape bots are just so overpowered right now. I don't know if those are going to get nerfed at all, but these are something new. They look like tape bots, but they're probably shooting like, I don't know. You can see it explode. It's like a whitish thing. It's like bluish white. All right. But there's also explosives just kind of popping up around. There's explosive tote bots. The red guys. Yeah, look at that guy. That's terrifying. Those are going to be the worst things. You really got to shoot those like at a distance, because if they get up to your base, there's 3 explosives stacked on their heads. They're going to demolish everything. All right, but other than that, it also looks like there's different building materials here. Like this kind of wooden scrap fencey thing to the right of the GIF looks new to me. And even the platform underneath it, like these wooden boxes look different. I wonder if that's what we can build with, or if this was like a prefab location. Also, this whole building to the left side of the GIF too, that all looks new. There's a lot of chaos going on in this. It's hard to decipher it. All right, moving on. The cornade. We're excited about this one. This is a new weapon in scrap mechanic called the cornade. We noticed that some players ended up in really tricky situations in warehouses and decided to add a grenade type weapon to help in these certain unfair enemy encounters. Now that we've added it, we can't understand why we didn't do it sooner. We also made it super satisfying to use, simple, but a great addition to scrap mechanic. The other cool thing that I'm guessing is going to be nice with this is there's going to be another use for corn other than just feeding the walks. The design is really clever. It looks like we have like a zip tie here for pulling the pin, and then the corn. All right, and then here is it being used in action, and the animation is actually also really clever. It blows up in popcorn. It blows up into popcorn. That's really funny. And it looks like it has an okay range. It gets both of... There's 2 tote bots over here. It lands pretty much right next to this one, but then the one a little bit further away also gets damaged. There's also something... There's like... It looks like a sack. Like a burlap sack in between the 2 tote bots. Does it drop loot? Tote bots like right here. Now those are the tote bots dropping loot. It's hard to tell if some loot comes out of that thing or what that thing is. It could just be like a light, like a fallen light. There's some of those in the ruins. But from this angle, it kind of looks a little bit like a sack. But it's probably just a fallen light. This box is new. The one that these boxes that they're standing on, that's definitely new. All right, super cool animation though. I like the aspect of the grenades. I'm hoping that they're relatively cheap and they just take like corn. They probably take corn and glow, if I was to guess, because explosives take glow and oil, I think. So this probably just takes corn and glow, if I had to guess. All right. Oh, interesting. We're gonna have some gamer moves. It'll bounce off the ground. You hit it with a hammer. Look at the popcorn too. I mean, it doesn't have that long of a fuse. I hope you can cook it. I mean, it's corn. You're cooking corn, but I mean like cooking a grenade. I hope you can actually like hold it and then throw it to time it that it explodes like right when you want it to. That'll be interesting. So yeah, this is a cool... I like that it responds to the hammer that way. All right, and you can see another example. The popcorn looks really good in this GIF in particular because it comes right at the camera. Look at that. And there's 3 tote bots here. It goes in between 2 of them, takes those 2 out, but this guy is a little bit too far away. You can kind of see the explosion radius. Yeah, there's like a shock wave that goes out to a certain level, and it looks like that's probably the damage radius. All right, moving on. Multi-shape parts. Something that was always a bit of a problem with the building parts in Scrap Mechanic is that parts could not have multiple shapes within a single part. This isn't something I was aware of. Like, this wasn't even in my consideration. This is now resolved. And with that, we've added a few new parts that have this new possibility. It's a bit of a niche thing, but we want to have it included since it offers quite a few new and fun ways to interact with parts. So this, we got like a spool, a wooden spool, and it has wide disc-like edges and then a smaller cylinder in the middle, which they're showing that it is able to run, like a track is able to run in between, which I guess in the current version of Scrap Mechanic, if you were to have a spool like this, its hitbox would probably just be like a square or like a circle or a full cylinder, and you wouldn't be able to put anything inside of the 2 ends. So this isn't something I was aware of being a thing, or not being a thing rather, but it's cool that it's gonna be a thing, I guess. I wonder what other parts they have. Like, it would be interesting, the resource containers. I highly doubt it's gonna work with the resource containers because the resource containers are just an open cage. But if you could actually like go through a resource container, like that's also seems somewhat similar in concept. Although that one has like that would be like an object with a hole in it versus just multiple objects. I don't know. I'm just weirdly thinking out loud on what else other than what they're showing us right now this could be applied for. And then here you can see a crane interacting with, it's still the same part. They've only shown us this single part when it comes to this concept. So I do wonder if they have other parts that are better, that just use this concept better. But there's gonna probably be some massive trains using these as wheels and going on tracks. All right, interesting tile we got here as well. Looks like they have a base behind them. Small base back there. All right, moving on. Useful ladder. Now this is something I also didn't really think about, but have wanted it at times, but never really thought it was gonna be a thing. Ever wanted to build a fire truck with a folding ladder? Maybe just have a ladder to keep your creations tighter without the need for a big staircase? Well, we added a ladder. Since Scrap Mechanic is a very creative and free game, we had to make sure that the new ladder works on moving vehicles, but also is possible to climb at angles you would expect to climb. Is it more superior than the toilet seat? You be the judge. The toilet seat is one of the most powerful items in the game, but aesthetically, at least, this is definitely going to be superior. And immersion wise, it's definitely going to be superior. I'd much rather have a base that I climb up a ladder than teleport into a toilet seat. All right, and then they have an example of a fire truck that has some of these ladder pieces on it, and it looks like they're using low friction block underneath the ladder to create like a base, which is interesting because the low friction block is not resting on anything other than itself. Oh, it's probably... Oh, that's actually interesting. So if when they rest the ladder on whatever they're going to be, you know, leaning it against, then they can move without much friction. I guess that's the reasoning behind the thing. So they got a piston mechanism pushing up here, and then that unfolds. That's pretty cool. They've also got some stabilization feet in the back and the front too, it looks like. All right, and then here is an example of using the ladder. Yeah, it looks like... Is this straight up? Yeah, this looks like straight up. So if you just go and look up, you just climb the ladder. It'll be really nice having ladders, especially in just like general other creations, like in challenge mode when people are building like all those huge maps and they're trying to build the ladders out of pipes that you gotta like parkour up. This is going to be so much nicer and so much more compact. Okay, up next, freezer and ice block. So this is what I was referencing when we saw all that ice on the map. The ice block is a very low friction block, making the mechanics slide on top of it. Together with slants, it's possible to build slides among other things. To craft the ice block, the player has to obtain a freezer and add water. Using this block in creative ways can be very beneficial, especially with transportation systems. So by the sounds of it, you need to freeze water to make an ice block, but it sounds like once you make the ice block, it doesn't melt. Because I mean, look at what we got here. We got a walk on some ice blocks, and you would assume that these blocks would melt if you have to freeze them to make them in the first place, but I don't think that that would be a very fun experience if you build things out of ice and then they always just melt and get destroyed. Although it also could be interesting having temporary blocks like that have a time limit. But it'd be nice to have just an intentional, like just a low friction block like this, I suppose. And then look at this. We got a slide. Whee! Yeah, so the ice block comes in wedge form as well, of course. I like how they even have distance markers on the ramp there. All right, and look at this. Sledding. You can sled your way through. They have a seat on there. Is that a different seat? No, that's just like the folding seat. We have those. That looks really cool, though. That's very low friction. There is no snow biome, is there? I wonder if with the ice blocks and the ice, like the freezing areas, will come some like snow areas too. It'd be fun to sled. All right, moving on. We have the Ducky outfit. As a returning Devblog tradition, we have to include a new outfit. This time, it's time to reveal the Ducky outfit. It was on our drawing board for a very long time, and we finally got it made. Maybe one of our more wacky outfits, and really fun to mix with other outfits. It is a very feathery duck outfit. And we got the gloves, the feet, the pants, the torso, and the helmet, of course. I'll finally have something else to use garment boxes for. Well, and there's a whole bunch of other new outfits that they've teased, like the miner outfit and all that stuff. Look at him. Look at him. Okay, here we go. Updated trashbot. Some of you mechanics who have been following previous devlogs might remember the stinky trashbot. We iterated on him quite a bit after that. We ended up doing a lot of changes and improvements. He is now a lot more intense than what we started with, but also way more fun to fight. This looks amazing. I never imagined anything like this existing in Scrap Mechanic. This is a legit boss fight. Like, he's got special attacks and all this stuff, like, that you gotta dodge. This is... I'd never imagined seeing stuff like this. This looks so cool. It also seems like he's not just going to be on top of warehouses anymore. Remember, a long time ago, I did battle preparations for the trashbot because I think the idea was that he was just going to be on top of a normal warehouse, but it looks like he's got his own arena now. Yep, this is a very specialized arena for his attacks and stuff. So, I mean, obviously the game is so new, I got to just start over. Like, I don't think it's going to be... I don't even know if it's going to be compatible to load into old world files. We're probably just not going to have half the stuff in those worlds because the worlds are just so outdated. But yeah, this thing looks so cool. This looks like a legitimately, like, really fun boss battle. Man, look at this. He's just got, like, a bunch of different attack patterns and stuff. Yeah, this looks really fun. Looks like his eye is the weak point. You can see it glowing. I wonder where this is going to be on the map. Like, is this the top of a warehouse? Like a new warehouse ending? It's hard to tell. Don't really get a sense of elevation in either of these gifts. There's a lot more content that we've been working on, but that is saved for the release. We wish you an amazing holiday and happy new year. Please keep a close eye on our channels in the coming months. Stay creative, mechanics. There it is. How many months is the coming months? How many? The coming months. They're coming. They're right around the corner. These coming months. Like I get, you gotta be 4 or less. You cannot exceed 4. Then it's no longer the coming months. Those months came and gone. So Scrap Mechanic is still alive. Chapter 2 is still in development. This is all good news. I mean, the bad news is that this is still not the year, even though they said this was going to be the year last year. And then they said that was going to be the year before. So next year, this time, super serious this time, next year, we'll figure out in the coming months. So out of all the stuff that you've seen in this devblog, what excites you the most? For me, I think like this trashbot looks insane. This is the most surprising to me and also the most exciting in my opinion. Close second is probably the raid overhaul. Looks like it's going to be a game changer as well. There's going to be a lot of game changers. The game is going to change. Whenever that update comes, the game will be changed. So let me know what you guys think. What are you most excited about? And if you want to see other stuff that has been teased for Chapter 2 years ago, then go ahead and check out some of the other devblogs on the channel. Because presumably most of that stuff is still like part of the plan, part of the map. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.